to me is just, when Fenton first came on, I thought, when we talked about this, I'm like, he's just making some rookie mistakes, right? He can't possibly be this bad. Well,
right.
I think he's actually this bad.
Yeah.
And I never thought I'd say it, but I mean, I'm almost starting to miss Fletcher. And that hurts me to say. Because there wasn't many people happier than me that decided to move on.
But hey, you know what though? Inexperience be damned. It's going to be fine because we've got the greatest analytics department in Oh wait, no, I guess
Had.
That's right.
Yep.
We nuked both of them. Yeah.
He also did mention that a lot of people internally advised him against the Phil Kessel trade, and they're not happy that he decided to go on with it anyway. So I'm a little. I don't know if he's just extremely arrogant. It was rumored that the first analytics guy was let go because he didn't agree, and he told him otherwise about how some of those trades were going to turn out. So you let him go, then you somehow think that the person he started War on Ice with, that they've been together for so long, is just going to re-sign without her, partner in crime.
Yeah.
It's a dumb decision. Even if you didn't want him, you should, and you wanted her, you keep him anyway. Not to mention that they're both highly regarded in the analytics business. It's just mistake after mistake after mistake, and it's ugly future.
I think it shows a serious lack of confidence in his own abilities.
I agree.
Because he doesn't want
you
somebody
should
around
want
to
people to question you. If you're a good leader, you want people questioning you, and then you want to have enough confidence in yourself to at least take other people's opinions.
Right.
If you can't do that, you're not cut out for the job.
Yeah, no, that's a great point. I mean, Tony, look, you're a season ticket holder. How first place, is there a rebuild path that they could have gone down where you would have still kept your tickets?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, probably not. I guess I would have been fine with them blowing it up. The problem is when I hear, okay, we're going to let Fenton blow this thing up, and then he fires the analytics staff, and he's got half the scouts, and it just doesn't build a lot of confidence in why I should go back and buy tickets,
Right.
It just doesn't build that confidence in me to say, yeah, I trust where they're going.
Right.
And I think that's all that the fans want, is just to say,
yeah,
okay, you know what? So a change needed to be made. The Chuck Fletcher era, something had to be done different because it wasn't working. We loved playoff games, but first round and done wasn't good enough.
Right.
So let's blow it up and try again, especially with Russian kid coming over, all this stuff on the horizon.
Right.
Let's do it now, so when he gets here, we have a serviceable team.
Yep.
A team that he can be the difference maker and get us into a conference, final or something, right? And I just don't feel that confident. So I don't know how anybody would.
I mean, you look at the Leafs. Every 2 years, Shanahan comes out with a new 3-year plan,
right?
And that's enough for those people to keep on paying the highest prices in the NHL.
Yeah,
right. It doesn't. Give us some anchor, right? Some calibration setting for the compass, and if it gets off course, there's 1,000 different excuses for why it can happen.
Yeah,
and then you just, okay, here's the new plan. Okay, all right, well, that's the new plan, but here's this is the plan now. Okay, yeah, but if the plan is, I keep on coming back to this, where Russo reporting during the hiring process that ultimately led to Fenton, that he thought it was strange that there wasn't a hockey person in the room, that it was Craig and that other dude that's been around forever, but they didn't have a president of hockey ops, and they didn't have, obviously they didn't have Flair in the room, But you know what I mean?
Right.
There wasn't a hockey person in there to sort of be the voice of reason, or at least be able to translate what the candidates were saying into English for the other people. So I keep on coming back to that and thinking, I don't know if that was intentionally ignorant, or they just didn't have a guy, which I find hard to believe, or this whole thing was rigged from the beginning.
Do you guys think that? Well, do you think it's more on Craig for allowing Fenton to do this kind of stuff? Like the fact that he's got half the scouts. Is Craig not one to pony up the cash? I don't see that. They're a cap team, right? So why is that the case?
They've had a bunch of scouts in the past. I think Fenton just let a bunch of them go, and he hasn't replaced them yet.
Then is that on Fenton because nobody wants to work for him, or they all think he's not very good at his job and not going to be around in 2 years?
I feel like Fenton wants yes people.
Yeah, that's a bad thing.
And it's a very bad thing. But it's funny you brought that point up, Nick, because there's like two questions I want to ask Russo, and one of them, and maybe I'll ask it next week, is when Fenton inevitably does lose his job, hopefully sooner rather than later, but regardless, is there going to be a hockey person in the room next time to help them hire somebody?
Suter.
Well, yeah, other than Suter. So, like, it'll be Suter and Modano.
I mean, honest guys, I don't even think Suter would make some of these bad decisions. I mean, Russo mentioned that when some of those trades went through, the players were pissed.
Yeah.
Like,
I don't...
Imagine being Parisi right now.
Oh, I know. You're
stuck here for 6 more years, and this ship is sinking.
I mean, you have to trade Zucker now. You have to. You don't want to come back here.
Oh, he does.
How about you bundle? How do you bungle that? Like, give the guy a heads up. Hey, we're thinking about sending you to Calgary at the deadline. It's just business. We really appreciate what you do in the community. Yada 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 yada. You can't even make the phone call, and then you do it again to the guy in the freaking summer. Well, he's watching his best friend about to win a cup.
9 goals as of tonight.
Yeah, unbelievable.
Well, he hits open nets now. That's a good thing. I mean,
hey, it's improvement from where he was when he was here,
right? And I wish him nothing but the best. I mean, I'd love to see Coyle win a cup. You know, a great kid, but why can't it be with us for F's sake? Gracious.
And I still don't mind trading Coyle, Granlund, Niederreiter, Zucker, or whatever. Right? I still don't mind trading those guys in and of itself in a vacuum. It's the return that's the issue.
Yes,
I agree, and that's what I was trying to tell the fans on Twitter that I was arguing with. Is nobody's mad. Nobody thinks that the status quo is okay, and we're mad that players aren't getting traded. It's the return.
Yeah. It's not. I'm not saying. I'm not one of the people saying, you know, Charlie's tearing it up in Boston. You know, like F him for not doing that here. Well, no, it's what it was. He needed.
That's the trade I have the most confidence in, and something maybe getting a serviceable player.
Yeah.
Russo also mentioned, I don't know if this was on the last podcast, that Rask deal came together so fast. Mm-hmm. Wild didn't even go and scout Rask. They just took him.
Oh, Jesus.
So that's 2, though, where it was just completely blinded by his specific agenda, right? Move Niederreiter and also acquire Fiala.
Yeah, at any cost.
At any cost. And, you know, one moving a player out and one getting a player in. That's just the idea, other than it being a rookie mistake that you talked about, Mike. The idea that anybody in that position thought that was the best way to conduct that business is insane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's fine. Go get Fiala, but get the other player that they wanted to give you. And trade Coyle to the Bruins and get Donato, but then if they go to the freaking Cup Finals, get a second-round pick out of the deal.
Yeah, you remember Poyle saying that when he woke up on the deadline, it was not a one-for-one deal.
Right.
Yeah.
Right?
But that Paul wanted a hockey trade.
Right. So Paul talked himself out of getting more.
God.
You can't make it up, guys.
So, okay. So,
How about them Twins?
how about them Twins?
But that's a good contrast. So the Twins hire all sorts of analytic people, right? Like the pitching coach, Wes Johnson, is an analytics nut, right? Like, what's your best pitch against this? All this kind of stuff. Hitting coach was the same way. Analytics guy, Baldelli's analytics guy. What do the Wild do? Fire all their analytics staff and all their scouts and bring in half of what they used to have.
Mike, you make a good point. Is it just? I wonder if you may be right. Is he just can't stand to have somebody around who would voice a dissenting opinion because that might make him look bad?
Well, that's what. Russo doesn't say it out blatantly, but he does kind of hint at the fact that, when he made a bunch of those layoffs, a lot of those people, kind of pushed back on some of the trades he wanted to do.
Sounds like he's from Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
Like, don't question him, otherwise, see ya with your head.
Yeah,
but he's also that way with Russo, kind of, right? Like, he gets super pissed when Russo figures out stuff before he wants it released.
Right.
So I think he's that way with, like, he's short with Russo because Russo questions what he's doing,
Well, so he's going to be here for this summer, right? And
he's got at least a year. And
he's going to be here for, let's say, minimum through the deadline next season. Right. Craig has said he will not stand for another missed playoff, so that's why I said the deadline.
Good luck.
Right, exactly. Well, we know how that's going to end up. But so given that he is here for now, what do we have? We've got a barbell team age-wise, old and young. Well, we've had that for a long time. We just replaced the last group of up-and-coming kids with a new group of up-and-coming kids, like truly replaced them, right? Swapped them out. But we still have the old core that's just older. Does a guy, look at a guy like Stahl. What's the outlier? Was it the 42-goal season or whatever he did this season? I think it was the 42-goal season. Yeah.
I was going to say, I think we know that answer.
Parisi was great last season compared to what he was able to do from injury and everything else the season before. But he gets another disc issue from taking all those chops in the back, and he could lose. So where are we here? We got a goalie who's kind of a head case when things start going wrong, and then they start to snowball, and is a good but not great goalie most of the rest of the time. We've got a backup who's if his first name was Williams, he'd be more of a legend in town. But that's about what he is. Then we're gonna have a bunch of kids we hope take the next step. But we've been hearing that narrative for years, just with again a different core of kids. So. Are we going to come off the mat next, the basement, out of the basement of the division next season based on that, where no other team is materially moving backward from what I can tell?
Mike, that's all you.
No, I don't. As we've heard for the last, 5 years, it's all going to depend on the young kids. And if they can take the next step.
Ugh.
And now you have an older veteran group. You still have a bunch of lefties playing on the right side.
Yep.
Which now he's deciding, when he traded for Donato and Fiala, he didn't care that we needed right side. He just wanted them. But now all of a sudden he's figuring out, maybe we should have some guys on the right side.
Yeah.
Which isn't all Fenton's fault. That's part of Fletcher's fault, but the fact that Fenton just continued to go along with it for a little while is a problem. You don't have a playmaker. to pass all these guys that love to shoot the puck.
Do you remember